Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Channel 23's The Faces of Carlsbad. This is a program that, I should say this before I even tell you about this program. I'm stopped constantly walking the streets of Carlsbad and they'll say, I watched that program. You bring on people that I've never met before, we've never met before, but we like meeting them. We could do without you, meaning me, but the people are nice, and I said, thank you very much. But they like it. We're sponsored by the way, by Intrepid Potash. Channel 23 is Carlsbad's #1 station on television. Don't forget that. And today, I have a very lovely lady to interview. Her name is Susanna Cartwright. Susanna, welcome to the show. It's so nice seeing you.
It's been an honor.
Susanna has a very interesting story to tell us, and later on in the show I'm going to throw in a question, not a question, but something that happened to me while I was visiting in that area of Europe. Susanna, tell us where you were born and where you grew up.
Okay, well, I come from a small country in Central Europe. It's called Slovakia. I grew up in the northern part, northwest part, close to the Czech Republic and Poland.
Mm-hmm.
So my original birthplace is actually closer to the Polish border. That's where my father's from. But when I was 4, my mother moved me and my brother to where my grandma lives. And I grew up with my grandmother and grandparents.
Your father was born in Poland?
No, on the Polish border.
On the Polish border?
So, yeah.
Of Slovakia. And then they moved?
About 80 miles down south, but it's still northwest part.
Yeah. Was it fairly close to the capital city, Bratislava?
Oh, no. It's about 200 miles away.
Oh, 200 miles away. Oh, my goodness.
It's a small country, but everything is close. You can get everywhere by train or bus.
Had a very beautiful country.
We haven't even owned a car.
Oh, is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Train and bus, those were the ways,
Yeah.
the two most enjoyable ways to travel in Europe,
Yeah,
especially
I miss it here.
trains.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. So you grew up in Slovakia,
Mm-hmm.
and you say you live with your grandmother?
Yes. And I actually grew up in a big house with my cousins and aunt and uncle. So altogether it was, almost 15 people living under one roof. But they had an upstairs, like an apartment, and we were downstairs.
And the downstairs?
So growing up with my cousins was the most fun part.
Oh, I see. Now, are most of your relatives still in Slovakia?
Yes, I'm the only one here.
You're
and
the
I
only
haven't
one.
seen my family in 10 years. Next August it will be 10 years.
Well, we're going to get to that, but what drew you to the United States?
All right. Well, it's not all that exciting. I graduated from college in 2003.
Where was this at? What college?
It was called the University of Cyril and Methodius.
Where?
Cyril and Methodius in Trnava. It's a western part of Slovakia.
Oh, I see. Okay.
About 60 miles away from the capital city.
Mm-hmm.
And after I graduated, I decided to take a year off. Just 1 year, and I thought I would be back. But 1 year became 10 years, and now I'm here. I came over as an au pair. I forgot to say that.
Oh, as an aunt?
As an au pair?
Is
like
that what it is?
Nanny?
A nanny? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How did you get involved with that program? I mean,
I signed up with an agency, and they found me a family. And the advantage of this program is that the families pay the airfare. So it's, they bring you here, they pay everything, expenses, then you live in their household as a member of the family. Well, that's what the philosophy of the program is. I'm not saying that this is how it always works, but in my case, I was always with very nice families.
And where did they live? Where did this family live?
I started in Virginia. Then I went to live with another family in South Carolina, Charleston, very beautiful. And I also lived 2 years in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. And that's when I met my husband. So.
Well, we're going to get to the marriage part, but when you get back to where you are working, and you know how many states we have in this country.
Oh, yeah.
Well, you're going to tell them, you're going to ask them that question, and they're going to say 50. And I want you to say you're wrong. We have 46 states and 4 commonwealths.
Okay.
We have the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Commonwealth of Kentucky,
Okay.
the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and the Commonwealth, I believe, of Pennsylvania. And the
Okay.
rest are states, but those 4 are commonwealths.
All right.
And you can, you're going to show them how smart you are, by golly.
Okay, well, thank you, because you called me there.
So anyway, and in Philadelphia, you say you met your husband?
Yeah, he's originally from Michigan, and he, at the time we met, he was employed with New Mexico because he was hotshot. He worked for BLM, no, Forest Service at the time, and he was a hotshot on a fire crew up in the Sacramento mountains, and that's a seasonal position. So he worked 6 months, and he was back in Michigan for 6 months, and he was visiting in Philadelphia, and that's how we met.
Now, the people you were working for, were they, when you first came here, were you able to speak any English at all, or
yeah.
did you learn that? Oh, you learned.
Yeah, we had 2 languages starting in elementary school. We had German and English, that was compulsory, and then also through high school and college. So
That's amazing. That's what they ought to have here in this country, don't I think?
They do.
Because they do, but I
they
mean,
teach Spanish, don't they?
but you know, to make sure you learn the language. See, I've been out here many, many years, and this is a beautifully, a beautiful area with wonderful Spanish-speaking people. And after all these years, oh, I've been here over 50 years, I can say buenos dias and adios, and that's it. After 50 years, I know 2 phrases.
Well, I think I know more just from hearing, you know?
Yeah.
I've never learned Spanish, but I don't know. You see it all around you. You read it.
I know it. You're right.
So it sticks to you.
So your husband met you in Philadelphia. Were you working, walking in a store someplace, or how did you meet?
Oh, well, actually, we met prior to that. We met actually online, and then we met for real in Philadelphia. So I think that's a very common way of meeting people these days. So.
Yeah, and you swept him off his feet.
Well, you have to ask him that.
Okay. I wanted to say one thing about the language. As I told you before we got on the air, my grandfather was born of Czech parents in Bohemia. And when my mother got married, her name was Taylor.
Right.
And I thought, wait a minute, something doesn't make sense. And I was in Prague, I think I told you about 10 years or so ago, and the lady who was guiding us through this beautiful city, we sat down and I told her, I said, you know, my mother was born with, her father was a native of this country, the Czech Republic. Well, his parents were, and he was born in Ohio, but his name was Krejci. But when my mother got married, her name was Taylor. And she looked at me without stopping and said, that means Taylor in English. So I knew a Czech word, Krejci, Taylor.
Yeah, well, they wanted to change it to something more English sounding.
Yeah, more Americanized style, yeah. Now, was your husband able to move down here because of his job? Was that how it was?
Well, yeah, that's what his job requires. I mean, he couldn't find work in Pennsylvania because he's a wildland firefighter. So
Yeah.
I thought of it as an adventure when I was moving across the country with my car loaded with my possessions, you know, and he was already in Cloud Grove, and I didn't know what to expect. It was this little mountain village, and there was nothing around, and I just moved from a big city, so it was a big change for me.
You didn't fall in love with Cloudcroft?
I did.
Isn't it
I sure did, yes.
Isn't it a beautiful little place?
Yes.
It really is. So you finally moved to the big city?
You mean Carlsbad?
Yes.
Well, could be bigger, but I'm accustomed to, you know, change, so.
Yeah. Now, your husband, does he still work for the fire
He doesn't work for Forest Service anymore. He works for the Bureau of Land Management.
Oh, the
but
Bureau
he's
of
still
Land Management.
doing the wildland firefighting.
And what job does that entail you? And I've heard that mentioned so often. but-
He spends a lot of time out of state during the summer. We don't see each other a lot because, you know, it's been dry season and
Mhm.
they get called to Arizona, Nevada, California. So it's usually 2-3 weeks at a time. He comes home, he gets called again. So it's usually just the summer part of
Yeah,
the
yeah.
year.
So
I've
that
been
keeps you
busy.
pretty busy
Well, yeah. I have a
thinking about
small
how
child,
he's doing.
so
huh?
yes.
How old is your child?
3.5 years.
Mhm. A little
Mhm.
girl?
Yeah.
Mhm. And what's her name?
Ella.
Ella.
Hmm.
Was that a name that your family had in the past?
No, we chose it. My husband wanted Stella or Bella, so we settled on Ella. And her middle name is Christina. My husband's mother's name is Christine, but I wanted more European spelling with a K, Christina. So that's how she was named.
Oh, I see. Okay. Now, you stated that you have not been back to see your relatives in Slovakia for 10 years.
It's been kind of hard with the
Do you
small
keep in
kid.
touch with letters or texting or whatever?
We are doing a lot of online communication,
Mhm.
Facebook and Skype. I talk to my mom a lot. My
See,
brother.
I don't even know anything about that. I still
Mhm.
write letters.
Oh, well, that's
Yeah,
good too.
Mr. Lutman tried to teach me that stuff, but it was
Mhm.
a lost cause because I couldn't catch on to it.
Yeah, I couldn't go for so long without that kind of technology because it's hard, you know, be away from the family for so long.
Well, is your mother still there?
Yeah.
And your dad also? Or?
My parents split when I was 4. That's why
Oh,
we
I
moved
see.
from
Okay.
the
But Mama's still there with Grandma and the rest of the
Grandma
family?
passed away
Oh, she did.
3 years ago. Yeah. So it's been just my mom
Mhm.
and my brother also.
Are you hoping to get back to see them sometime?
I've been planning to take me and my daughter next summer.
Mm-hmm.
I hope it's going to work out. It'd be
Okay.
nice. Unfortunately, my husband might not be able to go because of the fire season, but summer is the only time I would want to go because then, you know, when I'm here, I'm used to warm weather. I don't want to get there in the middle of winter and freeze. So
No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I
Well,
became a little bit of delicate here in the desert.
do you like flying?
I don't mind flying.
Mhm.
I flew all over the country, so I've seen many parts of the United States.
Yeah. Well, that's fantastic. Now, what do you do in your? Well, tell me where are you working now?
I work at the Carlsbad Museum and Art Center. I've been the collections manager, so I've been taking care of the collections and all that comes with it. I'm also at the front desk as a museum attendant
Mhm.
because we have limited staff and we are trained to do multiple tasks. So
Well, the museum is quite beautiful here in Carlsbad.
Thank you.
I'm amazed that the city this size, which is not that huge, has such a beautiful museum because I've been to other cities that are larger than this one and they don't have anything that it can compare with this one.
well, it's been the oldest municipal museum in the state, so
Mm-hmm.
we have a lot of good collections.
Yeah. Do you ever fall in love with any of the pictures that are drawn that you see in there?
Oh yeah, I'm a fan of art, so
Mm-hmm.
I wish I could afford to buy art, but you
Well,
know,
yeah,
I'm
that's true.
surrounded by it.
Mr. Lutman is a famous artist. Did you know that?
Who?
Mr. Lutman, the man who, our cameraman.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, he's a famous artist.
okay.
Yeah.
You have to ask him about it later.
Yeah, we will have to. What do you do in your spare time
Oh, what is a spare time?
when you can relax?
I know. I don't have much spare time, so I chase after my daughter. I forgot to mention that I only work part-time at the museum, so I get more time with my child.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's been her. Whatever she wants to do, we do. Otherwise, I like sports. I like going on bicycle rides and rock climbing and shopping. There is no shopping here, but you can figure it out.
You like to ride bicycles?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And you have a bicycle, I trust.
Yep.
And are you very careful when you get close to these cars that are coming at you at...
Oh, I would just go along the river. I don't go on anything
Oh, I see,
extreme.
along the river. Yeah.
Yeah.
And does your daughter, you do a lot of walking with your daughter?
She loves to go to the park and we go swimming.
Do you have
She's a
any pets
typical
in the
3-year-old.
family?
We have two. We have a hunting dog and a Chihuahua. So.
A hunting dog and a Chihuahua. I
That's my
suppose the
daughter's.
Chihuahua is the tough one in the family, right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's
Let me
amazing
tell you.
how these Chihuahuas, as
They think
tiny
they
as
are-
they are, they think they
Yeah.
are the tough one in the
As
family.
big as a horse.
What are the dogs' names?
The hunting dog is Hink and the Chihuahua is Rini.
Weenie?
Rini. Rini with R,
Oh, Rini.
which is short for Serenity.
Serenity. Oh, okay. Got me.
Yep.
Do you like to sit back and read a book every so often when the little one's in bed?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. I have a pile of books that I plan on reading one of these days. Yeah, I also like cooking too.
Cooking?
And having people over to entertain.
Oh, well, that's nice because a lot of women don't like that. They
Oh,
don't like
why?
to cook. I don't either.
We just remodeled our kitchen, so yay.
Wonderful.
That's my new
Wonderful.
kingdom.
Now, in the future, do you hope you can remain in Carlsbad? Because we'd love to have you stay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've been planning on maybe 3-4 more years. We'll see. It depends where my next, where my husband's next job will be.
Yeah, right. Does he have relatives still in Pennsylvania or Michigan?
In Michigan, everybody's in Michigan. One of his sisters lives in Alaska. And that's about it. Alaska and Michigan. We go there once in a while. We went there for last Thanksgiving.
Chilly weather? Was it cold?
It was like here, maybe in January. But they are having a very warm weather as of now. I was talking to my mother-in-law. So she said that it's been unusual.
It's been what?
It's been unusually warm.
Unusually warm. Yeah, the whole country's been hit with unusually warm weather this year. But I understand that shortly we can expect a change in the temperature, hopefully.
Oh, are you talking about snow here?
Not here, but in the northern part of our
We need
state.
to plan a trip. Actually, we are planning a trip in February, going on a cruise.
Oh,
So I
you
can't
are?
wait.
Where are you planning to cruise to?
It's gonna be a Disney cruise for my daughter because she's all in Disney princesses and stuff. We're going to Caribbean.
Caribbean? Yeah. I was there last year. It's beautiful down there.
Did you?
It's amazing, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. But that was a sad trip for me because on this trip they notified me that my oldest cat, my cat, Mamacita, had passed away.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
And, see, oh, that's another Hispanic word I know of, Mamacita.
All right.
A little mama.
I know.
So anyway, you're going to be kept pretty busy. You're going to enjoy the cruise. And I would advise you not to move back to Michigan full time.
Oh, never.
The winters are much too cold, and Carlsbad spoils you.
Yes, if I ever move out of Carlsbad, I would like to stay in New Mexico because I just like the culture and it's different. So.
Well, we enjoy seeing you over at the museum, and it's always a pleasure to go in there because you girls over there have such nice smiles.
Thank you.
Of course, your boss is going to be taking over another job, isn't it?
That's true.
Yeah, Miss Christopher.
Yeah.
She's
We
a
got
lovely
promoted,
lady.
so we are getting a new boss. We don't know who it's gonna be, but
Well, it might be Guy Lutman. You never know.
oh,
Yeah.
well, the position is open.
I told you he's a famous artist, so
He needs to apply.
he needs to apply.
There is always a chance.
Well, Suzanne, I want to thank you for being our guest, dear. It's been
Thank
a
you.
real
It's been
pleasure.
a pleasure.
And I want to
An honor.
congratulate you because I only talked to you for a few moments and told you the time, and you came right on time. I'm really pleased.
Well, I'm surprised that I was on time.
No,
my
you weren't.
pet peeve.
On behalf of Channel 23, Intrepid Potash, and this beautiful building here, and all of our lovely guests, goodbye and good luck. Happy holidays. You don't want to say